Okej. Det tog en del tid att komma igång med det. Nu verkar allting fungera. Så nu drar vi igång med Advent of Code 2024 och jag kommer att använda let's change language. It's time to do some live coding, and we're going to use FastHTML to do Advent of Code 24 day 1. Now I'm 8 days behind, or 9 days behind the original schedule, so I guess someone who looks at this one is more interested into HTML usage of the this riddles. I got one thing set up before. I have my environment for FastHTML set up. So let's jump into that one. And here, let's see. I have set up an environment for Advent of Code. And in this one I have the Python virtual environment that's needed for using HTML. I have requirements here, and that one looks like this one. It's just Python fast HTML, bigger than 052. Anything kind of works here. I'm not really dependent on stuff. So we have the requirements, and when we open up a window in this one, which is this one, yeah. What's that one? That's another thing. Okay, we can skip that one. When we have a virtual environment, we need to set it up as well. And just to go to the same directory, we need to source, binary, and activate. Kaboom. Here we are in that one. Why it's called O2, maybe. It's just what it's called. So we're going to cd into 01 since we are starting off in the first day. And what should we do, or what do we have here? I got some files. I have a template for main, the first day, and the A question, and I also have the same template for the B question, and we're going to look into those. So I also got the environment and requirements. I don't think I need them here since I have them in general for all these days. So what is it we are doing? Yes, the first day of Advent of Code. There's a long story about missing someone in the elves and stuff in North Pole. It's always a long story. But to get into the actual task at hand, here we have them. We have two lists, and if we hold them up side by side, it is clear that the lists aren't similar. So we need to reconcile those two lists. And here we have a couple of examples, and this file is what I have in something called sample text, if I'm in the right directory. Yeah. So I have copied and pasted these into a text file, so we can check if we are doing the right thing here. Okay, so we read on in the instructions. We are after pairing up the smallest number in the left list with the smallest number in the right list. And then the second smallest with the second smallest in the right, and left and right, and so on. And just calculate the distance between these two numbers. So within each pair, figure out how far apart the two numbers are. Yeah, minus is a really tough thing to do. Yeah. You need to add up all those distances for all pairs in those lists. For example, if you pair up the 3 from the left list with the 7 from the right list, the distance is 4. Okay, and then there are some more examples. Then they say whatever, and if they add up everything from these two example rows, we are going to get the distance going to be 11. Okay, so it is time to get into my... I thought I had... oh, that was... sorry. 01. Here we have them. Main. I want to start that one and get it. By default, it's running in the wrong window. Move to a new window, and here we have that one. This is my template. So, and we have two parts here. One is the imports, of course. I need to use FastHTML and UVcorn for this one. FastHTML is kind of obvious. Why I need UVcorn, I'm not really sure about that one. Maybe I don't need it, I just import it for now. Doesn't really matter. We're starting up our app with FastHTML as default. And then we have one root, and that is the get of the root. And this one has a form that has a file input. So that is one thing that I'm using FastHTML for. I'm taking in an input file, like the one of example as we showed. And then there is a button that says add, which should more be named compute. Why not rename it to compute? Right, that. So we can see that we actually are running this code as well. Okay, so what this one does, when you press the button, it will do an hx post and end up in this next one. We also have some HTMX things here. We have a target ID, the to-do list, which is next thing here. And what we do here is that we swap out the text content of that one. So the next thing here is, well, first we have a form, and then we have a div, which contains a text, more or less. It is empty when we start off. We also have a fancy title named Advent of Code 24 Day 1A. and then we just return all of that, and that gives the actual web page. Okay, so when we press the button compute, we will end up with the file name, or actually the entire file here in the post for root. That one is async. It gets a file name, and we need to wait for this file to be read. So I will end up with the file in contents. Now, a thing about importing stuff into contents over FastHTML. You don't end up with a string or a list or something else. You end up with a blob of bytes. And those bytes need to be converted, for instance, into characters or lines of strings and whatever we need them to do, but we need to convert them. And then we're using a get distance on this contents, but we're still sending up this blob of bytes. This result of this call is what we call a distance. I print it in the terminal, but I also return it as a string here, which comes back to this one, the hx swap in text to-do list. So this one will get a text that we send here. So we will see the result in the web page after we press compute. And then we had the get distance function. And this is the actual thing that we need to make to solve the puzzle of advent of code. So in this area, we will need all the code to solve the problem itself. And what I do with this one, I split the content into lines, because there are new lines in this bit blob. So I have a row list, and then for each row in this row list, I split it between A and B. It's easy to see if we have that one available. So for the first time we run this one, we will have A equals 3, but we still have strings here. So the string 3 and the string 4 will end up in B. So that's what we're doing in the second one here. We have the first list and we have the second list. And we append integer of A. So here we have the conversion from more or less binary string to integers. And then we append those to a list and run around one time in this list. Okay. Then we also have this template that we have a distance that is now 0, and then we need to calculate a sum of each of these lists. But going back to this one, they want to compare numbers, the smallest numbers with the smallest numbers. This means that we need to sort the lists. And how do we do that? Rather basic Python. So first list, sort. Let's do a copy paste on that one. quite easy. We get the first and the second list sorted. And then we need to go over them. But we also need to we need a for loop. We need a for loop where we can point in the same direction in both sorted lists. So we're not doing for item in first list. We are doing this other type, which is for e in range of the length of first list. So we get the index, and then we use the index to find what we are comparing in this set here. Right. So I guess it's just to start comparing here. What is the distance? Well, we add the distance of the prior things, and then we add the distance between these two. And when we're calculating distances, we take one minus the under and then look at the absolute value of them. I hope it's called absolute. It's abbreviated abs. And then we just take the I index of that one minus the second list of that one. So per row in these sorted listed minus each other and the absolute value of them, and then we add it up row for row, and then we get our distance. Okay, this distance will end up get distance here. We print it out and we return the string, and it should be presented to us goodly. So is it time to start up the web server? Python 3 and main 1a. Let's say if we made any typing errors. Doesn't look like that. Okay, so then let's go to localhost 5001. Maybe I should make this a bit bigger. So Advent of Code Live 24, day 1a. Let's put in the file, which is lac01 example text. I have it in the latest, so it is this one. Let's compute. Loink 11. Yeah, what did it say? A total distance of 11. Sweet. Now, when we get later on in these, you can't really trust that these examples will give you all the caveats that you might run into. In this case, I think it is. So we need to download the actual data that we're testing on it, and that is a bigger one. I'm using Firefox to download it in a new pad. Ooh, that's a lot of numbers, and there's a lot of big numbers. copying them all, and then I'm jumping to my trusty gedit. Right. Something to look at when we do, here it is. If you see in the bottom here, there is an empty return in the bottom. I usually remove them to not needing to put in some special character there. It's quite often that Advent of Code uses spaces in there, or new lines in the end of these files. Okay, where did I save that? Did I save that? No, I didn't. And let's call it data text spunk. And then we go to our trusted little friend that we just made. We take data text and we press compute. Ooh, 1,938,424. Could this be correct? We need to check it. Let's go to Advent of Code and paste. Submit it. That's the right answer. We got a gold star. Funny. Okay, I think we have time to do the second part as well in this one. Your analysis only confirmed what everyone feared. The two lists are indeed different. Yeah, they were different. Blah de blah de blah. This time you need to figure out exactly how often each number from the left list appears in the right list. Calculate the total similarity score between by adding up each number in the left list after the multiplying it by the number of times that the number appears in the right list. The same example. The first number is 3, it appears in the right list 3 times. So the similarity score is 3 times 3 equals 9. Okay, so we're moving on from minus to multiplier. Okay. Yeah, on the first day we're getting started, so yeah. This time we're going to get 31. Okay. So, what do we have? I think I have a template for that one as well. This is the one. Maybe we should stop this one. We don't need it until we are done with this code. So 1b add. No, let's calculate again. So we have the same thing of HTML stuff here in the bottom, and I have the basic things of turning these two lists into integer lists, the FST, the first list and the second list. So I'm using that directly. I also kept the sorting things here because we have already done that. It's the actual calculations that we need to do to get this new result. Okay. So let's go back to the description. by multiplying it by the number of times. So we are adding the result of each row, but this time we are for each number in the first part in the first list, we are checking how many times that number exists in the second list. So yeah, we got the same amount of oh, did I remove that one? Well, whatever. We're using the same one. 4. I said 4. I in range length of first list, I think. Yes, we'll be running around the first list this time. And the similarity score is the same as the one before. We are adding up each row. And then how to calculate this one. So we're taking the number first list I multiplied by second list count. And what should we count? Yeah, the first list. So this one. This is normal list handling, the count function. In this list, it counts how many times we can find this number. And then that should be multiplied by this one and adding up. And I actually think that should be it. Should we test the example code here? Oh, need to start it up first. Let's go to main 1ab. Running. Okay. And we are reading this one. 1ab. Good. And then we want the example text. And this one should be 31. Hey! We got it. Have we got the faith to run the real data here? Is it using the same data? Yeah, it looks like we're using the same data as in the first one. So that was data.txt from that file. Ooh, big numbers. What is it? Ding, ding, ding. 22,014,209. Sounds a lot. Let's see if that is the answer they're looking for. Okay, it says, although it hasn't changed, you can still get your puzzle input. Yeah, it's the same puzzle input. So yeah, this one should be it. Ah, that is the right answer. You're 1 gold star closer to finding yada yada yada. Okay. So by this, we have sold the first days of Advent of Code. Quite an easy one, just to get into the swing of things. Let's see if I will make a continuation of this. I usually not really finish all of them, but why not this year? Okay, if you have any comments, do leave them below, or anything else. I might be back tomorrow with the next one. Let's see. Have a good one.